Hi! Today let's talk about the unexpected advantages of multiple sclerosis. Usually when it comes to MS, we mostly hear the negatives: illness, limitations, difficulties. But I want to share a different perspective and talk about the benefits that unexpectedly come with this diagnosis. Yes, it may sound unusual, but believe me, they do exist. The first and most important advantage is discipline. When you have MS, you can no longer afford to live carelessly. To feel okay, you have to stick to a routine, take your therapy on time, get regular tests, eat right, and exercise. At first it seems hard, but gradually discipline turns into a habit. And then you find yourself more organized and responsible than you were before. This applies not only to this diagnosis and treatment, but to your whole life in general. The next advantage is quitting smoking. Many people know it's harmful, but with MS you really understand that smoking actually speeds up the disease, and besides that, it increases fatigue, pain, and cognitive impairment. It also accelerates brain atrophy. That's why quitting cigarettes becomes a huge benefit. Your prognosis improves and the risk of disease progression decreases. The third advantage is nutrition. Yes, there is no single diet for multiple sclerosis. But when you start listening to your body and changing your habits, you really do feel better. I became more attentive to what I eat and realized that proper nutrition gives you more energy, less fatigue, and helps you tolerate therapy more easily. The fourth advantage is exercise. Physical activity with multiple sclerosis is not just possible, it's necessary. Walking, swimming, yoga, light strength training, all of these help you feel more energetic, strengthen your muscles, and also improve coordination. Of course, it's important to know your limits. Don't overheat and take breaks when needed. But when exercise becomes part of your life, everything noticeably changes for the better. Perhaps one of the most important advantages is psychological resilience. When you accept the diagnosis and stop fighting the very fact of the illness, you start moving forward and become stronger. Many of life's difficulties no longer seem so frightening. You learn to cope with stress, find resources, appreciate the little joys, and not put life on hold. And finally, the sixth bonus advantage is overall health. Yes, multiple sclerosis is still incurable, but if you take into account all the previous points, discipline, quitting smoking, proper nutrition, exercise, and psychological resilience, then your overall level of health really does change. You start paying closer attention to your body, monitoring your test results, visiting doctors on time, and noticing your body's signals. At some point, you realize that you know more about your own body than many completely healthy people do. And even though the illness stays with us, you can still maintain your overall physical condition at a decent level. Less fatigue, more energy, better sleep, and a more stable mood. And most importantly, you gain a sense of control, a confidence that you're doing everything possible for yourself. Of course, multiple sclerosis is a challenge, but along with it, you can also find your own advantages: discipline, health, new habits, and psychological strength. Now I want to ask you, what benefits have you found after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis? Share your experience in the comments. I think it will help other people who are facing this disease. And if you appreciate this positive outlook, support the channel by subscribing. There are many more interesting videos like this to come. I wish you lifelong remission. Bye.